update this morning. It was a tough night. Last night, had my first mouse. We were sitting in here, all buttoned up for the night. And I had the TV, nothing was playing, so it was real quiet in here. And I heard, mouse noises coming from like right underneath where the camera is. That cabinet, it's an outside cabinet, the one that has my batteries and all my, my inverter and all my electronics. So I grab Lefty, I put Lefty on the short leash and I take him around there, and it turned out I had been in that cabinet earlier in the afternoon and I left the doors open. Now, that cabinet, what is it, 18 inches off the ground, 20 inches. I'm assuming these mice that are out here can jump that high. So my fault. It's just coincidental, or is it because I left the doors open that the mouse was in that cabinet that I left the doors open? So it was night, it was dark out and those doors were open. I had forgotten to go back around and close them. I've done that a couple times in the past, forgotten to shut doors and then come out in the morning and say, oh geez, I left the doors open. That cabinet specifically, because I remember one time at the van build, because I was working in there and then just didn't shut them and then went to bed and forgot about it. Didn't have any problems. So we are 20 feet from any bushes and dirt. I don't like to get very close because that's where the mice burrow. When you're out here on the flat rock, the crushed rock, there's no mouse holes out here because it's all rock. So I stay out on the rock all the time to stay away from the dirt and where the mouse burrow. So anyways, last night, so I get Lefty over there and I don't see anything in the cabinet, and I'm poking around in there and banging and knocking, and Lefty's sniffing around, not really super interested in that cabinet. He more goes under the truck when I say look for bunnies, I say, and he starts going crazy, but he goes up under the truck. So we came back in here. So this happened several times. We come back in here, I wait, I hear it again. So we go back out there. Well, finally we go out there one time and I open the doors and I'm knocking around and there's the mouse. I see it. So now it's for sure, it's in that cabinet. And the little booger scurries, because Lefty's in there now. He's going crazy. And the mouse goes up under the inverter. It has a gap about 1/4 inch where it's mounted to the bottom there. So because I'm looking for the mouse to see where it is, and I shine the flashlight up under the inverter, and there he is. He's up under there, wedged up in this little spot. So I'm like, okay, and Lefty's right there. So if I can just get this thing to come out in the cabinet, Lefty's gonna get it. And so I go and I get some tools, screwdrivers and stuff, and I'm trying to poke it to get it to scurry out. Well, it does come out from under the inverter, but then I don't know where it goes. I taken all the stuff off the top shelf. That shelf is bolted in, so it's not real easy to get out. And the way it's in there on those tracks, it's very difficult with one person unless you put some props under it, because once you take those bolts out, that shelf wants to slide right down. You actually take nuts off, and the bolts are captive in those wall tracks. So you have to take that thing out level and slide it all the way up, and then the bolts come out of the tracks. So you get one end and that thing starts going wonky like this, and my batteries are right underneath it, and that's an aluminum shelf. And so I try to get the shelf out. Now it's it's 11 o'clock at night. I got the floodlights on out there. Lefty's barking like crazy. He's just going ballistic because he knows this thing is in there. He must have seen it too, because he's just going nuts. He actually started biting the inverter he grabbed the AC cables that come out of the end of the inverter, the wire loom, the plastic loom, and he started yanking that off. I had to take that out of his mouth because he's going nuts, you know. He wants to get this thing. So we mess around, and I can't find it now. I look behind the charge controller on the wall because it has heat vents and it has, you know, air gaps runs up there, and I look. I got a mirror out there. I got my mirror lights. I can't find this thing. I don't know where it went. And now I'm looking. I can see the whole cabinet. You can't get behind the batteries. They're pushed right up against the wall. It's not behind the charge controller. It's not under the inverter anymore. I don't know where this thing went. So finally, I had to call it quits out there. Now it's, you know, midnight, 12:30. So I finally come in here, and I wait a while, and it took, gosh, half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I hear it again. I still hear it. And I said, I'm just gonna have to go to sleep and get up in the morning and deal with this thing, because I couldn't get it out of there. And I'm dead tired now, you know, it's late. So finally, I don't know, 2 a.m., I fall asleep, I guess. I wake up, it's 4:30, super quiet in here, and I lay here and I don't hear the thing at all. And I lay here for about an hour, finally drifted back to sleep, woke up again at 7:30. I don't hear it at all out there. I've been out and looked, and Lefty's been out there, and I don't see it out there, but we're gonna pack up and drive into town. I'm not coming back to this specific spot either when we come back out. We're gonna drive into town. I'm gonna get some mouse traps, just some old school wooden clacker mouse traps. There is in that cabinet, up on the side wall, almost at the top of the cabinet. So that's about, you know, that cabinet's what, 30 inches tall. There's a hole where there used to be, I'm not sure what used to come in there, but it's just a hole through the aluminum. And going up near there are my cables that come in for the 2 LCD control panels for the battery monitor and for the charge controller. So I'm thinking the mouse went up those wires and then got through that hole and got out of the cabinet. That's the only thing I can think of. And maybe that's how it's getting back in. Because when we were out there, and I'm seeing every inch of that cabinet, and I don't see the mouse, but then I hear it again. And I'm assuming it was back in that cabinet. So anyways, I'm gonna cover up that hole. We're gonna get some mouse traps. I'm gonna see if I can find anything else in town that's for getting rid of mice, which I'm sure there is, because this is an issue out here in the desert. So terrible night. I feel totally unrested. It's about 9 a.m., 9:30, something like that. It's almost 10 o'clock, and we haven't even taken our walk yet, and so it's been a tough start to the day. So I got to get up and get us all packed up, get the motorcycle loaded, and do all these things, and then head into town. So great first experience with a mouse. Hi everyone. So it's the next morning after putting the mouse traps out in the cabinet, and we didn't have any problems last night. You know, laying in here, bedtime, listening to try and hear if there's any mice. I mean, I could hear that mouse the night before. He was making quite a racket out there, scratching, and in hindsight now, trying to get out of the cabinet. Last night we're laying here, you know, the sun had gone down. It's 9:30, 10 o'clock, and when the sun goes over the hill and things start to cool off, the truck starts to cool and makes a lot of noises, you know, a little popping and creaking here and there. And at one point, the ceiling fan, the roof fan, you know, it's in a hole in the aluminum roof, and suddenly it went boom, and the screen, and it's right above my head as I'm laying there in bed, and that scared the crap out of me. All of a sudden, boom, you know, the flexing of the screen. So I laid here and listened to noises, and every time I pause the TV and listen, you know, Lefty looks up and he's on alert because he sees me on alert listening, and he starts whining. But finally, I don't know, 10 o'clock or 10:30, I finally just relaxed and fell asleep, and we slept all night through to 6:30 this morning, because the night before we didn't get much sleep at all. So we had a good night. I went out this morning, and the traps, there's nothing in the traps, and which tells me that mouse definitely did get out of the cabinet, which I pretty much had already figured out. So I've taken the traps out of that cabinet. There's no reason to leave them in there anymore, so I've put them away to be used on down the road. And the glue traps, you're able to put them kind of face to face the way they're packaged, and put them all in a big giant Ziploc bag, and I've stored them away, so if I ever need them down the road. But what I am going to do is go around now, and where my large 12-volt cables come up into the house, the box of the truck, they come through the factory holes with the plastic collars on them, and there's not a lot of room around them. They're sized pretty well, but I know mice can get through basically no area at all. So I'm gonna get some sealant in the caulking gun and just kind of shoot it up in around those wires inside those plastic collars and seal those up 100%, so that I know that those mice can't get in through there. And then also in the outside cabinets, they all have those vent plates, exactly like this one I used for the diesel heater. And these slits here, wouldn't be surprised if a mouse can get through them also. So I'm going to get some metal screening and go around to the outside cabinets and take those vent covers off and put a piece of screen behind it and then seal them back on, because they are all vented to the outside now. In some cases, in a lot of cases, the cabinet wall is right up against the wall of the next cabinet, so there's not a lot of room in there where it's vented to, but a mouse could climb up in there and wiggle their way through if they're going for something. So easy enough to do, to pop all those vent covers off and put a piece of screen up behind them. So easy enough to do. So I'm feeling good that the mouse was just the one that jumped in because I left the doors open. But I keep thinking, what are the chances? One night I happened to leave the doors open, and it was there, you know, it was only dark for a few hours when I started hearing that mouse. So he happened along those open doors pretty quickly. The only thing I can think of is that he was attracted by the warmth of the inverter. You know, the inverter was running. It definitely is warm. You know, do mice have heat vision? So he was able to see from a distance that there was a warm thing over there. I don't know, but he sure got in there quick, but thankfully got back out. The little patch that I did with the duct tape, and I'm going to seal that hole permanently now, that's not disturbed, so nothing tried to get in or out through that hole. So I'm going to put this video together now and share it with everybody. So I hope you are interested in this topic. It's not all greatness out here. I mean, there's a lot of good about being out here, kind of wandering around and being on my own, but there's things like this that can happen that really, for me, really stress me out. So things are not all roses and shiny sunny days, even though it is sunny and beautiful out today. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the notification icon so you know when I get the new videos out. I'm really trying to keep out regular postings to keep everybody abreast of what we're doing out here. Lefty and myself and the truck and building it. And soon here, as the weather starts to change, we're going to start venturing off into other parts of the country and start seeing some really great sights. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for watching. Leave me a comment and leave me a thumbs up if you like it and a thumbs down if you don't. All right, bye everyone.